So should we start? So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes. So because we are reading newspapers, so it's good morning for us, right? So look at the news. Anything important on the first page? Something related to social media. Supreme Court is saying something. Yes? What happened, madam? Any serious issue? Phone? That's serious. Okay. Okay, rest of the people kindly focus because you're supposed to focus. Okay. Now focus. Okay. So we're talking about this news about social media. Supreme Court has said something about regulating social media, especially these social media influencers. Okay. Now what has been happening? If you see the case over here, this case involves this Samay Raina case. If you people have ever heard about this news. Any idea? So Samay Raina is a comedian. So he was running a show, India's Got Latent, and in that show, as any comedians do, is they make fun of people. They make fun of anything. And this particular show became little controversial when the fun was being made in such a way which was not so much acceptable to society. Okay. See, there are many shows by many comedians which are going on. Okay, that's not a problem. In case of this show, few clips which were like going viral, or they have put that video on YouTube deliberately because they knew it will go viral. In those videos, some clips were of such a kind wherein they were making fun of people, let's say people who are disabled, people whom if you make fun of their disability, this is something society doesn't accept, or this is something where people take it as offensive. The person was not having any problem. Let's say a disabled person came to his show, he's making fun of his disability, he's also okay with it, this person is also okay with it, crowd is also okay with it. But the moment you put such a video on YouTube, maybe this crowd will not be happy with it. Okay, after that his show got stopped completely, the case was registered and the case is still going on. Okay, now the point is, here the concern is about freedom of speech and expression. Here the concern is about freedom of speech and expression. So when you say freedom of speech and expression, every citizen has got this freedom. So it is for the comedians also. Anyway, they're doing a good job, they're making fun. Making fun of people or making fun of anything comes under Article 19A, freedom of speech and expression. Right? Now we are thinking about whether to restrict this or not, considering the potential impact it might have on society. Especially when that freedom of speech and expression has not, or it is not having any kind of restriction, or that angle of responsibility is missing. So that's where they are considering this case. So in Supreme Court, one of the judge is saying freedom of speech is not absolute. And these people, they are commercializing freedom of speech. Commercializing means they are making money through freedom of speech and expression. Now see what happens when you are making money through something. You want that thing to continue, you want that thing to happen more, you gain more profit. So you are running a show, not a problem. In that show, you are making fun of a person, again not a problem, because that person does not have any problem, right? And the crowd sitting, they also don't have any problem. The time till which it is a private show, the court or anyone would not have any problem. But the moment you make such a video public, then public might have some problem. In the Article 19 also, we mention about something called as reasonable restriction. So when it comes to public morality also, we can restrict your freedom of speech and expression. So that's the reason they are saying freedom of speech and expression is not absolute. Okay, and in this case, when it is being commercialized, The court is saying you should not hurt the sentiments of the sections of society. Okay. Now another judge, today you are making fun of disabled people, tomorrow you will make fun of women, then of children, then of elderly. So where are you going to stop? So that is their point. Why we have to restrict it. Now here the point is what court is trying to say. Our objective is not to stop your freedom of speech, but to bring some responsible angle in this. So they're saying we are not interested in censorship, because this is what state tries to do. Censorship, put a ban on your freedom of speech and expression. Anyway, who will protect you when your freedom of speech and expression is violated? Is the Supreme Court. And in this case, Supreme Court itself is saying that we are not censoring it. We just want sensitization, you people to understand your responsibility. When you look at a social media influencer or a comedian like Samay Raina, he's very influential. Whatever he says will have substantial impact on the society or the younger generations. So they're talking about being responsible in this particular case. Okay, so this is the basic case, wherein what we are trying to do, we are giving importance to both these things, liberty as well as dignity. Because when you make fun of disabled or weaker sections, their dignity also gets hurt. And Article 21, right to life, also includes right to dignity also. Okay, so see, Article 19, Article 21, they are in conflict right now. Both are important. Both are part, see, when we talk about liberty, it includes both of them actually. So here we are just trying to balance it, or to say in a way, rights come with responsibility. That's what they are trying to showcase over here. Still we have not got any final judgment in this particular case. We are still waiting. These are just comments that are being made over here in this case. Okay, easy. We'll see what happens in this case. So these articles, Article 19 and Article 21, these are about this particular case. Clear? Now moving ahead, this editorial, there's so many news items today. We'll cover the most important ones, remaining we will cover in the weekly sessions. Now this article specifically talks about the working in our democracy that is happening. For example, they are saying we have something called freedom of press. Do we have that? Under which article? Under 19 article, same article, freedom of speech and expression. When you express, the press is using the same freedom to talk about its freedom, right? And during British Raj, we had experienced this thing, that this British Raj always tried to curb this press freedom. So we always tried to ensure that we should have freedom of press in India. And we say that there are three pillars of government. We mostly say that in a democracy there are three pillars like legislature and all these. We also say there is a fourth pillar in the form of media. We give so much importance to media, that media can ensure that democracy sustains. If let's say legislature is not working properly, executive is not working properly, and judiciary is also not working properly, in that case media can at least ensure their accountability. Media can question them. So media has that relevance and importance always. And for media to function properly, they have to be free. If they have fear from the government, they will never write something against government. Okay, so free press or press freedom is considered as cornerstone of democracy at any point of time. Okay, now there is one case that we have called as Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras in 1950, in which Supreme Court upheld this press freedom. They said this is a very important freedom and this is part of this fundamental right. Okay, so if it is so much important, now what happens? Because this media will always be in conflict with the executive. Always. You will always observe the executive, that is the government, and the media. They will always be in conflict because media is continuously going to criticize them, whatever executive is doing. So they are in conflict. Is this tussle good or bad? This conflict is good or bad? Bad for whom? Bad for that journalist. But for the country? For the country, it's a good thing. This tussle should continue. The time till which this continues, it will ensure that our democracy prospers. Because whatever good thing government is doing, that media needs not show. Government will anyway show that. Yes, every minister will do some, some meeting, or they will make some posters, they will put some videos, they'll do something or the other to showcase that we have done this, we have done this. They'll try to take credit for everything. If they have done something really good, they will show it. But if they are doing something wrong, media should show it. So many people say, media being like some media channels, some people criticize, saying that you only show the wrong things of government. See, it's their job. They are supposed to show the wrong things only to ensure the accountability of the government. Right? Now the point is, what happens is when there is this tussle, state being state is very powerful, we say. Central government, state government, whoever is in government, they're very powerful. They don't like criticism. In that case, what they do is they try to put some pressure on these journalists or these press media, whatever you call it. They use many methods. Now, one of the worst method they use is using the provision of sedition against a journalist. So we have this IPC section 124A, which we already had in India, which talks about sedition law. What is sedition? We discussed it earlier. Yes, very good. We said something called Rajdroh. Yes? Sedition, when you do something against the state machinery, that is sedition. In the British Raj, such laws were used against the freedom fighters like Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He was the first person against whom this sedition law was being used, that he was acting against the state. And he was also a journalist. He was also coming up with some newspapers like Kesari and Maratha. Right? So here in this case, after the British Raj, we have a new Raj wherein governments use the same provisions against the journalist, saying that this journalist, whatever he is doing, it is against the national security or against the state. So when you're doing something against the state, then government gets a lot of power. They can take a lot of action against you. Now, if you see the provision of sedition, it clearly mentioned, whoever by words means whatever you're speaking or whatever you're writing, by words, signs or visible representation, brings or attempts to bring hatred, contempt or disaffection towards the government established by law in India. That means simply you're writing something, showing something, you're displaying something which shows disaffection or hatred against the government or against the state machinery. If you're doing this, you're creating hate towards the government. So what you're doing is you're making the government illegitimate. Okay, this is something which is not good, So that's why they're saying we can take action against you. And the provisions are very strict. Sedition law means it's a very strict provision. And this is supposed to be used against whom? If there is someone who is like a Naxalite, a terrorist, or someone who is trying to carry out some revolution in India or destroy the system of state. This provision is made for such people. And here it is being used against the journalist. So this has been happening. When Supreme Court saw that again and again this is being done, so at one point of time they said, we are putting this sedition provision, section 124A, on abeyance. Abeyance means we are putting it on hold. Because so many people are continuously, so many cases are being registered. So Supreme Court said we are putting it on hold and asked the government to review this law, bring a new law if needed, do something. Now after that what this government did, they replaced it. They said we are removing this section 124A, we are not even using this Indian Penal Code now. Now we have something new, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, and what they did, somewhat similar provision with some sugar coating, like you're wearing a new cloth, and the same provision added over here. Okay, so right now we have this section 152 of BNS, which says any speech that endangers sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, that person will be punished. So whatever was written in that 124A, just they have changed the words. More or less they can file the same case again against the journalist under this clause. Okay, So the same thing is continuing. Now why we are talking about it right now? Because there is a case. Recently there is this media, The Wire, quite famous, just like The Hindu. So the journalist from this The Wire, he was booked in Assam. He was charged against this with this same charge, saying that he is provoking unrest, undermining national security. Now this is very important. You're putting the charge of violating or undermining national security on a journalist. Okay. Now when this is happening, FIR will be there, he will be arrested, and that too only for his opinion. Just like these people are writing editorials. This person is writing some editorial. It is his opinion. He's criticizing, but it's just his opinion, a dissent. And for his opinion, you're putting him in jail, that too with a charge of undermining national security. Okay. Now this is something very serious what state is trying to do. Okay. So what are the problems in this particular case? First of all, you're using law just like a weapon. This is called weaponization of law, right? Which state is doing. Misuse of law completely. Then sometimes police does this just to harass you. They also know this case will not do anything, like you will not have evidences, nothing will happen. But see, the process in itself is full of harassment. There will be a case registered. Let's say you live in Tamil Nadu or somewhere at a far location, and I book a case over here, and you have to come here first of all for this court trials and all. You have to come and go. You have your job over there. Still you have to come here. Do you think any normal person, journalist is a normal person, he doesn't have any lot of money or lot of power as such with him, normal, just like all of us. So for him, this process, the process in itself is a penalty. Even if court doesn't give him penalty, court will leave him, like in this case nothing will happen, leave him. But that process which will continue for some time, so police knows this thing very well. So that's why they misuse it very easily. Then there is no provision to ensure accountability. If police or state is deliberately putting such cases, and if these are false cases, let's say, most of these are false cases. So after that, when it is, when the court is coming to conclusion that these were false cases, and these state machineries, let's say some IAS officers, or let's say a police, someone has done this deliberately, how to ensure their accountability? Because they are misusing the law, right? So that thing is missing over here. Now, as a result of all of this, what happens at the end? There's something called chilling effect, we say. Chilling effect means journalist knows that this will happen. So what he'll do while writing articles, he will not criticize. Simple. He knows all this is going to happen with me. Why to face all these things? Or he might have seen one example, now will not do this. So resultant of all of this is automatically I will self-censor myself. Government doesn't need to censor. I will self-censor. So zero freedom of speech automatically. Nice. So these are the problems in this particular case. Any doubt? Yes? No doubt? Okay. Now next news. This is about this dysfunctioning of parliament. Do you observe any problem with respect to parliament? Means, is parliament working good in a good way or bad way? What do you think? What is your view? That parliament works good way or bad way? We all see those videos, na? Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, we get on reels also. Someone is making good speech. Then what do you think? Are they doing their job? No. They are getting free salary. So if you see how parliament is working, since independence also if you see, and what is its core job? Its core job is lawmaking, and for lawmaking their core job is having discussion. If you ask me what is the core job, the core job is discussion. Okay, and the core job also involves asking questions to the government, because the job of parliament, because we are in a parliamentary democracy, our executive and parliament are connected. Executive sits in the parliament, right? So the core job of parliament is to ensure the accountability of this government or executive, right? For that they have to ask questions, right? But for them to ask questions and get answers, first the parliament session has to continue. Now normally what happens, or nowadays mostly what happens, session starts and session ends. Yes, there is a ruckus. Someone will say something, someone will say something, then there is so much chaos. After that, speaker says adjournment, done. Right? So such things are becoming common, because of which we don't see parliament working in the way we expect the parliament to work. Okay, so let's say, if you see the data given over here, they say there is a decline in the parliamentary debate. The debate which is supposed to happen between the present day government and the opposition parties, there is a decline in the debates that are taking place. For example, this 17th Lok Sabha, the present Lok Sabha is 17th one. Now here, 29% of its scheduled time has been used. 100% time was allotted. Out of that we are saying just 29% is used by them. Rest, gone. Adjournment, chaos, whatever happened. Only fights, nothing concrete. Same with the case of Rajya Sabha. Now you may say, sir, here it is 34, but 29 and 34, I don't see much difference over here. It's not like 70%, 80%, just minor difference. So both show that not functioning really well as such. Mostly is the adjournment which is taking place in most of the time. That means almost 70% of the time there is adjournment. Adjournment means nothing is happening. The session has been cancelled out completely. So this is clearly visible over here. Now there is something called question hour. What is question hour? Simple. So the member of parliaments, they can ask questions in this question hour. That is specifically for that. So what is happening here also, we don't see the question hour working that well as such. Same thing, again the data is talking about the same thing, that not many questions are being taken up, not many questions. See, what happens is, if the session is not taking place, how come you will expect that you will have questions and then answers? The session has to continue properly. The day's working has to continue properly. Only then it is possible. And this is not the only case with respect to parliament. Because what is happening in parliament, that is also happening in state assemblies. Okay, so it's the same case. So overall you can say that the legislature, when you look at the state organs, legislature, executive and judiciary, in that we are looking at legislature overall at the state level, as well as at the national level. Overall we see the decline in its working, decline in its productivity, and it is not able to perform its core task. When you are not performing your core task, that means somewhere you are becoming irrelevant. For people, they are becoming relatively irrelevant when you are not doing the job you are supposed to do. For me, executive is relevant, judiciary is relevant. If I am in problem, I will go to judiciary. But when I know parliament will not do anything, why would I go to parliament or my member of parliament? Am I right? Yes? So, is this a serious thing? Yes, it is a very serious thing. Now, the article, the writer is trying to say that there are few reasons behind this. One of the reasons, he says, the concentration of power in the hand of executive, specifically being dominated by Prime Minister at national level and Chief Minister at state level. What is happening is, this executive is dominating in terms of power. Dominating means they are not allowing this kind of discussion to take place. Most of the time, they are just bringing their own agenda, and see how things happen. When they bring in their agenda and you're not having a consensus building approach. See, one approach could be, I bring a bill. What happened? Hello? Okay. I bring a bill and then I ensure that if you don't like something, if you're asking for some amendments, then I'll try to take your points also. I'll try to amend it. And I ensure that we bring a bill with consensus, that you also like, we also like, somewhat consensus we try to bring in. That is one approach, right? Another approach is, I don't care, we have majority, we'll do whatever we want to. So that's what he's trying to say. That's what government is trying to do, because of which this is happening. He's trying to say that. Okay, so there is no consensus building that is happening. Here this executive is dominating in terms of power. Okay, then opposition weakening because of this. Now one interesting thing happens over here. If whenever government is behaving this way, what opposition tries to do, they become aggressive and they say, we are not sitting here in the parliament, we are going. Now government, okay, go, we'll pass the bill. So as a result of all this, what is happening, the communication or the debate which has to take place, that's not happening. If debate happens, the bill will become better. Something good will happen, but that's not happening. So the bill is getting passed without much scrutiny, without much discussion, without scrutiny, these bills are getting passed. Okay, so this is the core problem that we are observing. And there is one thing called as this partisan politics. What happens is, member of parliaments, they have loyalty towards people also, and they have loyalty towards party also, right? They are supposed to go and speak there on behalf of you people as a representative, but they are a member of the party also. Now when this executive dominates over there, here also the party to which this opposition member belongs to, that party tries to have this conflict with this ruling party. Now because of this conflict, what happens, these member of parliaments, they have to take the side of party, and instead of having discussion on bills, they have to fight. They have to do this politics part, just to fight for the namesake, just to disrupt the house. So this is what is happening. Clear? So not a good thing. This will have little bad impact. We say legislatures failing in this deliberative as well as oversight role. Deliberative means discussion part, which results in something good, and oversight means it is the responsibility of legislature to check the executive. Now you're not able to ask questions, you will not check them, they'll do whatever they want to. Simple. Okay, this is happening, democracy weakening, and citizens' trust. Citizen has a trust on parliament that they'll do something. That trust is also weakening. Okay, so these are the core issues with respect to parliament. Any doubt on this? Yes? No? Now last article with respect to Japan. What do you think? Japan is very important, okay, or not so important? Okay, important, more important, very important, too much? Huh? Give star rating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 star. America? Huh? Russia? Yes, someone said 10 star. Very good. Tell Modi ji, write a letter. Sir, Putin is very important, sir. Now, okay, look at Japan, how Japan becomes important. Japan and India are facing the same problem in terms of geopolitics or in terms of security challenge. What is our security challenge? Huh? Terrorism, who said? That is problem for everyone, not just for India. China, yes, very good. China is our security challenge, core security challenge for us. Because we know we have a neighbor, and this neighbor is very powerful, way powerful than we are, right? So we are concerned about our security. We are not concerned about Pakistan. That's not a concern for government also. Even right now government stance is, if there's a two-front war also, China and Pakistan both attack, what we'll do is, we will crush Pakistan completely first. And we will defend the borders with China, and then whatever happens, happens. We know anyway we might lose, but here we'll destroy first. So Pakistan is not a problem. China is a core problem. Now when you have this security challenge, look at the security challenge of other countries. Look at Japan. For Japan also, China is a problem. For Australia also, China is a problem, right? So the point is, these are those countries who are facing the same problem. You see aggression of China towards India, you have to see the same aggression of China towards Japan also. And when we talk about a region which is called as Indo-Pacific region. Okay, Indo-Pacific will remain in news. Someday when there will be a good article in Indo-Pacific, we'll discuss in detail. The point is, Indo-Pacific region is the region quite important for India also, for Japan also. We are part of that Indo-Pacific, and this region is growing now. Earlier, maximum trade was happening in Atlantic, where North America, USA, or this Europe, all these countries were there. Now maximum trade is happening in the Indo-Pacific region, which also includes obviously USA, but also includes Russia, China, the Southeast Asian countries, India, Australia, Japan, etc. So Indo-Pacific region is now becoming more important. Already had become important. In future, it will become way more important. So the center of gravity of international relations is going to stay in the Indo-Pacific region. Okay? Now what happens? In this Indo-Pacific region, there is a possibility that China might dominate. There is already a rules-based order in the world. We follow a rule of WTO, we follow the rules of United Nations, all those rules we follow. This is a rules-based order which was already created, led by United States of America. Now China has become quite powerful, and China is like, we'll not follow these rules, we'll do whatever we want to. So in South China Sea, they suddenly say, this area is ours. Who said? We said. Simple. This is like breaking the rules-based order. And what India, Japan, Australia, they want this rules-based order to continue. How will it continue? With something called as balance of power. So this balance of power, what is balance of power, anyone? When someone becomes very powerful and you are normal, then you can't fight with this person, simple. So you try to form a group. Everyone comes together, now we'll fight together. Whether you fight or not, when you stay together, this person will not do what he wants to do. He'll stay in, check. That is balance of power. So to balance this, Japan, Australia, India, these are coming together. If you see, there is a grouping called Quad. Yes, in that Japan, Australia, India, and America. All these countries are there. Now what is happening is, in recent times, this Quad is supposed to counter China, or at least put pressure on China, so that China doesn't behave in its own way, right? When we all stay together. And here America is also there, so the group becomes quite strong. But the way Trump is behaving, his behavior is unpredictable. So whether USA will stay with this Quad or not, now this is being questioned right now with this. Okay? Now what India is trying to do in this particular case, Modi ji is visiting Japan, is going to China also, is going to Japan also, and somewhere we are trying to showcase that we have good relations with Japan. At least we are together. We don't know America will be there or not. And somewhere there is angle of economy. You need to understand there is one angle of security. We have concern with respect to security from China's side, and to balance we need some partner. We are not so strong, we need some partner. So we look for partner, let's say USA. Because if we stay with USA, China will not attack us. Or at least we will have a good partner, strong partner, we can fight. Security wise, we balance him, balance China. But economy wise, how will you challenge? Economy wise, China is growing way faster. And Trump what is doing? Will not American market, will not allow you. So we need to diversify our markets. We need some countries with whom we have strong economic relations and stable economic relations. In this particular case, Japan seems to be quite relevant, quite important, and quite reliable also. So you see, here, Japan has pledged 10 trillion or what we call as 68 billion US dollars investment in India for 10 years. You're making investment for 10 years, shows that they are going for a long-term plan, not a short-term plan. Okay? Focus is on infrastructure, manufacturing, clean energy, technology, etc. There is this bullet train project which is also going on. Yes, so there is long-term commitment. This shows that somewhere Japan is, Japan has got a lot of money. Okay, they can invest somewhere. Anyone will invest at a location where there is chance of growth. If a country is already, someone who has already grown, the growth chance is less. You're already very poor, you have a chance of growing to this. So invest here, you will grow like this. So they are investors of some kind. We just need that investment. And in this case, it seems Japan has some trust over India that this country is going to grow for sure. So they're putting so much money and efforts over here. Okay. Now, as far as even security part is concerned, in year 2008, we had this joint declaration on security cooperation with Japan. We are having some kind of relationship which we are building with Japan, strategic relationship we can say. And here we are now saying that in this declaration we might add few more aspects like semiconductors, critical minerals, pharma, clean energy, artificial intelligence, supply chain resilience, etc. Okay, so the relationship is still building. We are trying to make it better. Okay, so that's it. You should know just the basic things that are happening over here. China's assertiveness, we are trying to balance that. America's unpredictability, that also we are trying to balance. Okay, that's it. Any doubt? Yes? No? Okay, there are few more articles. You can read them. Like for example, this criminalization related data is there, although so much data is not needed. Just look at it. 30% MPs and MLAs face serious criminal cases. We discussed this part already, right? Then this stealth frigate Udaygiri Himgiri to join Navy. Important one-liner, you should know what is this stealth technology. And this India-Fiji call for open Indo-Pacific. They'll not ask question much on this, but Indo-Pacific is important. Okay? Rest is okay. Yes, any doubt? No? He was a judge in Supreme Court of India as well as Supreme Court of Fiji. Very interesting. They get jobs in other countries also. They get it? You're a judge, means you have that intellect to judge. They need it. Simple. I don't know what is his story, but he has gone to other country now. You can't practice in India. So I don't think there must be any problem. No, every country no same law. They study all the law of that country also. They have to study.